All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? Beautiful Saturday here with the. I'm glad you're spending it with the Breakdown Sports. Steven and I, we're coming at you live on College Gamebreakers. We got a loaded slate today in the college hoops. We got the Big 12 versus SEC matchup. We got other nice mid-major games where I know I got some picks on it. You're coming here to hear some quick breakdowns on the games. We got 6 plays each. We're going to give you out our 6 real quick. We got 1 or 2 starting off at noon. So those will be the quick hitters we get to. So let me just retweet this link real quick, and then we'll get into the first game. All right. So the first game we're going to get into, Steven, I know you have some change on this as well, but this isn't one of the picks that you're putting out today. Tulsa versus ECU. Game that tips off at noon. Tulsa was one of the squads I was high on in the beginning of the season. They've hit a very rough stretch coming into now, and there's no better team to play during a rough stretch than ECU. ECU, I think their 7-5 record is very fraudulent. They're a team that doesn't do one thing particularly well across the board. Their offense is a bottom 100 offense. Their defense is maybe top 150, but that's a little bit of a stretch because they've played a lot of the weaker competition. And coming into this Tulsa zone, there's going to be zero way that ECU is going to be able to break it. ECU is shooting at the 255th best rate from 3, only 31%. So I just think it's going to be an ugly game, very low scoring. There's a lot of better matchups to watch at noon, but this is one where I think playing Tulsa at -2.5 is a great value play.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Pretty much. I mean, I wasn't really looking at it because Tulsa's fucked me over a few times in this bad stretch, so I wasn't really looking to play them. But, I mean, you're right. I remember when I was watching this conference more. If you want to win a bet, you just wait till you play ECU, and then that's when you got to hammer it.
Yeah, there's going to be a few spots like that today where fading the team is kind of more of my mantra here because I like the fade spot, and then you look and dig into it a little bit more, and then you find some stats that back it up, and then you go down to the player matchups, and yeah, this zone is going to be way too much for ECU. If today's the day where they regress and get hot, so be it, but I think Tulsa wins this one comfortably.
Yeah.
Do you got any noon games?
Noon games, I got not on here. No.
All right, so jump into your first one then.
All right, my first one's going to be the West Virginia-Florida game. I mean, I feel like Florida's struggled a little bit more against better teams with like a really good big man. And when you got to play Jarrett Culver when they're running essentially 4 out with just him alone trying to get single coverage in the middle, then I think that's going to be a little bit too much for Florida to handle on the inside. They don't really have that they don't have that big man who's been dominating right now. And I think Culver goes crazy. And when they start to double him on the inside, then that frees up space for their shooters who've been playing really well. I think West Virginia probably wins by more than the 4.5 that they're giving.
Yeah, Florida is definitely a team that's been on a bad downfall in the recent games, especially they're getting beat up in the SEC. Getting West Virginia as this matchup is not one of the teams that in the SEC you wanted to see because you know the West Virginia mantra. They're deep. They're just going to come at you the whole time. And I think even though the defense is I don't know, Florida's offense, especially with Scotty Lewis back, like it a lot better than what it's been. But the Florida's defense has been I've been targeting overs in Florida games just because they've been conceding at least 70, 80 points a game in their recent stretch. So that's where West Virginia, they're going to be able to catch them in transition pretty frequently here. So I like that play.
Yeah.
All right. So you're laying the -4.5 with WVU. All right. So my game here, this is the last one I added to the card to make my full 6-pack. We'll be drinking a 6-pack because I spaced my games out pretty well today. Might get some live ones, so definitely follow the breakdown and follow Steven and I on Twitter to catch us live react. If any of you guys have your best bets and watching in the audience, hit us up with them. We'll talk about the game. If you have a question, we'll cover that. But this one tips off at 2. We got Texas Tech versus LSU. So when I was looking at this game, all signs to me were saying to play Tech. But then when digging into the pick and roll model, it showed very nice value on LSU if you can get the +4. The 3.5 is still nice, but the 4 makes me pretty confident here. But what does not make me confident is the LSU defense. This is where McClung and Tech, they just have way too many versatile options to go at them. But I'm just hoping that, I don't know, people are saying this one's going to be an under. I don't think, or an under in a slow game. I think it's the complete opposite. I think we just see both offenses light it up. I think this is a complete pickup game. And Tech, I mean, they pulled out that nice one during the week, or almost pulled out the nice one during the week. McClung missed the potential buzzer beater. So I got to take the points in LSU here. Is it hard to say that LSU has the two of the better scorers or outright just scorers in this matchup? I know McClung can get it, but Cam Thomas and Trent Wofford, I mean, I think those two are just better scorers than what Tech has.
Yeah, that was my idea. A lot of the games when I was betting LSU earlier in the year, it never seemed to work out. Every time I was trying to rely on Cam Thomas and Trent Watford, like I did it against Florida, and the score didn't end up being that bad, but they were getting dominated that entire second half. I don't know. I feel like outside of those two guys, like you got like Skylar Mays and you got like a couple other guys, but like nobody else has really been consistent besides them, which is what's always scared me away from betting LSU games now. Because like Texas Tech, you kind of know what you're going to get. Like They got that good freshman, they got McClung, they got Santos Silva. And I feel like this game's a little bit too evenly matched for me to lean either side.
Yeah, that's why I'm definitely taking the points here. The public and the money's all over Tech, so I like this fading the angle here because, 4 points to pick and control Miles saying you're getting 2 points of edge here. That's enough to have me back it. What's your next game up, Steven?
My next game up is the Penn State-Wisconsin game. I don't know, like, obviously everybody seems to like Penn State a little bit right now, but I think this is one of those games where you have a team that you didn't think was going to be very good come into a very veteran Wisconsin team. I think it said it's in Madison. And
no, it's at Penn State.
Oh, it's at Penn State? Damn. Okay. Well, even still, I think this is one of those games where Wisconsin comes in and they kind of just like put their foot down. They're like, no, this is why we're the top of the conference. This is why you guys are supposed to be in the middle or towards the bottom of the conference. And I don't know, just like my gut feeling has them. I think they should blow them out here. I don't know. I think this is just one of the games where like the seniors who have been playing on this team forever are just like, yeah, we're not going to leave any doubt today. We're going to come in, beat you by double digits and leave.
Man, this state team, I've been the Canisius Quinnipiac game's been postponed for everyone out there. Breaking news from College Gamebreakers. Shame. Everyone's lock of the year on that one. But with Wisconsin and Penn State, Penn State they're not pulling out results whatsoever. They're losing close games. They're competitive in every game. Arguably should have won a few of the ones that they dropped. So that's where, is this finally the time where regression catches up to State? The numbers love them just because they've been over exceeding expectations probably for most of the season. Losing Chambers has basically done absolutely nothing for them. So that's where I think this is a spot, even though you're laying it on the road. Whiskey, I just don't like Penn State that much. This team's all right, but that's where I think backing Whiskey is where I would have to play here as well.
Yeah, I'm just tired of losing going against Wisconsin.
All right, so the team that I probably dislike the most in college basketball, sadly backing them today. Nova going to Seton Hall. This is, I think, an ultimate spot where Seton Hall is just going to slip up, let down spot. Lost that one to Creighton, just fumbled that game away. Now you're playing a much better Nova side. They're much more clinical than Creighton has been. Laying the 5 here. Yeah, it's a decent number on the road up in Jersey, but not much travel, minus 105. I think Nova just stomps them out there. Mamu, I shout him out. Love the way he plays, but Villanova just has way too many guys, and they're not deep. They only like to run their 8 guys, but that really doesn't matter because I just think Rodin and Mamu are going to be able to get shut down by this Nova defense that hasn't been playing too great so far, but I mean, they just take care of the ball. They're the best team that doesn't turn over the ball, and they're shooting threes at the 52nd best rate. Seton Hall defends them at the 309th rate. So, again, the team that better taking care of the ball, nails the threes. Hopefully, it's raining for Nova this afternoon, so -5.
Yeah, it should be. This is probably going to be a little bit of a hangover game for Seton Hall anyway. And this is one of those times where Villanova just having a bunch of guys who can play small forward or power forward works in their favor, since Seton Hall's best player is kind of like their center. So it's a bad matchup for Mamu and should be an easy win for Nova.
All right, what's your next game?
My next game, I got Georgia Tech versus Florida State. I really like Florida State here. I don't know. This is probably just like the people still think Georgia Tech's getting better. They have been playing competitive games recently, but I feel like Leonard Hamilton's team's really coming into their own right now, playing at home, just like the long athleticism they have. I think it's just one of those things that comes in waves, and I think they just end up overpowering Tech.
So what really, I mean, Florida State, that was a team that you and I were both extremely high on. On our preseason pod, I picked Florida State to win the ACC. And it was just, other than their little COVID shutdown, I mean, it took them 1 or 2 games to get back into it. And that's what's really done it. MJ Walker is becoming a beast, and he's just becoming the dominant guy. Scotty Barnes is playing a nice complementary role there. That 1-2 punch. I mean, Moses Wright and Jose Alvarado, if you watch that Duke game and if you had Georgia Tech in any fashion, that's a terrible beat. I'm very sorry for that. But, I mean, Tech, they don't like to run a lot of guys to begin with. And I think it's a big game where if they get in any sort of foul trouble, they are screwed. They don't have a lot of height either, which is the worst part when you go to play a Florida State team, that the smallest guy they can run out there is 6'5" at some points. And, I mean, Moses Wright is 6'9". Their most efficient and productive player is Jose Alvarado. So I think he's just going to be a little bit overmatched, but Alvarado always steps up. You saw that against Duke. So I would definitely be leaning Florida State here as well. Only 3.5. I mean, Georgia Tech has jumped up. They're not the same team that they were at the beginning of the year. Did you see that they weren't practicing with contact for like the first 3 weeks? You're on mute.
I did see that, and that was like what? That was when they lost to like Georgia Southern and like Georgia State. It was like, is Georgia Tech actually the worst team in Georgia?
Yeah, then remember their game against Nebraska. I was like, I want nothing to do with this game. And all right, so here, get into my mid-majors real quick. This is the lowest mid-major I got. The A10 is not a mid-major school. That is a nice group of 5. But with this one is Gardner Webb versus High Point. They played last night. High Point they won outright as dogs. Here, Gardner Webb sitting at -6. And I'm playing Gardner Webb because I'm not a huge guy that plays the trends, but I saw a nice trend here, and it backs up with the matchup. Kind of happy that Webb lost last night because that just means the line got a little bit shorter. That's why it's sitting at -6. But High Point is 0-4 ATS on the back-to-back so far. All of them have came within conference play. They're not covering the margin by over 4 points in those games. So this is where I can definitely see a Gardner Webb double-digit home pick it back up game. Last night's game was 59-55. Gardner Webb has the 139th offense overall. And High Point's got no defense to really get about. Gardner Webb just couldn't hit any shots. Gardner Webb's at home. I'm just going to lay the -6 here.
Yeah, that's probably smart, especially because like the one trend that I've been following, even though it really shouldn't matter that much at all, it seems like teams who lose the first game of like a back-to-back, especially if they're the more talented team, I feel like they've been winning that second game probably 75% of the time. Like I feel like that's hitting at some kind of crazy rate.
Yep, and the pick and control model also shows a nice 2-point edge here as well. It thinks it should be a -8. So this is where I think Gardner Webb definitely wins. So if you're looking for a money line parlay anchor, I think this is a nice spot where you can put it into your DGen plays.
Yep. And if you're going with that, then my last 2 games are at the same time. So I'll go with my mid-major game right now. This was one of the games that I thought we said was going to be kind of like must watch in like the mid majors, even though Murray State hasn't really played up to it. This is a Belmont Murray State game. Yeah. And I mean, Belmont is, I mean, they've been really good this year. I wouldn't say they've been like necessarily blowing everybody out, but I mean, still 17-1 going on the road to a 7-7 Murray State team. Murray State's they've been prone to lose some bad games. Like they already lost to Eastern Illinois and Jacksonville State, and now they're coming off. Seems like they have a lot of their losses coming off a couple wins, and they just beat Tennessee State and Tennessee Tech. Those teams are nowhere close to the same level as Belmont. So to see Belmont only laying 2.5 years seemed really weird to me. And if it's a trap, it's a trap, but I'm willing to fall into it, taking the best team in this conference to win by at least 3.
All right, let's see what the model says, Steven. And you're playing it at 3, you said, or 2.5?
2.5, but I expect them to win by at least 3.
If the model thinks it should be at least a 3.5 point edge here, or a 3.5, so you're getting a nice little edge there. Not huge, but model likes that play as well. So nice Ohio Valley. I mean, Murray State, you wouldn't expect them to be under 500 in conference play right now.
No.
That's their biggest issue. And Belmont, they're deep. They're just a team that, I mean, they're 17-1, 11-0 in conference play. Just ride that wave.
Yeah, you got to. Until it fails, you got to keep doing it.
All right. So to make up for betting against, or to betting on my least favorite team, I'm not fading the Hawks today. I'm backing the over at 145 against Duquesne. Who knows? Daly's not going to be back, but this St. Joe's team, they cannot stop anybody right now. It is pretty bad. And Duquesne, even though they aren't a team that plays with pace, it seems like anybody who plays with St. Joe's just knows if we're a slower team, we can just run with them and just run them off the gym. St. Joe's won't, I mean, hopefully they hit some threes today. Duquesne does have a stingy defense, but we saw, I'm not trying to compare St. Joe's to Fordham at all, but Duquesne's recent game against Fordham, they put up 82 against them. So the Duquesne offense can maybe the team total look on Duquesne could be the smarter angle here, but I'm playing the over 145 to cheer for my Hawks to keep it close. They usually don't when the team's in the top 150, but that's still at the same point where when St. Joe's can hang with Duquesne a little bit, when they do hang, the totals go over because St. Joe's is not close in a low-scoring game.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. The only thing that would have me leaning more towards the Duquesne team total is just because St. Joe's has those times where they got that one guy who will put up like 5 threes in a row, but then they'll go like 7 minutes without scoring and just like 6 turnovers. You're like, what happened?
Yeah, well, that's probably the reason why we're sitting at a cool 1-13 on the season.
Probably, yeah. That's probably a pretty big part of it. Let me see. Yeah, and my last game that I have solo is the Pittsburgh Notre Dame game. This is just one where I'm just going to sit back and hold my breath because I'm not really super sold on either team. But Pittsburgh has the best player on the court in Champagny. And I mean, I'm gonna trust him to keep Pittsburgh kind of on that right track and get another win tonight.
Man, I haven't caught a lot of Notre Dame games purposely this season just because they are just not a fun team to be watching. They hang tough for a little bit of the games, but Pitt, those are a team I know you weren't very high on coming into the season, but at 8-4, 4-3 in the ACC, I mean, they're showing that it's all Champagny. When he was out, you see how much more the team is just not performing. And I mean, Pitt's biggest answer coming into the season was, are they going to be able to score? Because you know Pitt and Capel has the solid defense, and Champagny can get you 25. It's just who is the second guy that's going to step up on a consistent basis? Is it Tony? Is it Johnson? I think they'll be able to score against Notre Dame. It's going to be a slow game, so it's going to be a, like you said, close your eyes, hold your breath type of one. You're not dying to watch it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but even without Champagny, Pittsburgh was still good enough to beat Syracuse. But I mean, that's probably just because Syracuse is trash now. Had to throw that in one time.
Hey, not last weekend. That was a nice cover for me there. All right, so the last play of the weekend. Steven's got a longer card. He'll read it out. I got 6 plays. And then this one, we are going head to head. Minnesota versus Purdue. I'm laying the points with Minnesota -2. Steven, what are you on?
Oh, wait. No, it said you were laying the points with Purdue.
Yeah, I said Purdue -2. If I said Minnesota.
I'm on Minnesota money line. I love Minnesota here.
So why is that?
Just I really like what their transfers have been doing. I hate trusting Purdue to hold any sort of lead anymore. Strictly after that Miami loss back in like December or whenever it was, when they were up by like 25 and then decided to lose by 5. That game just left such a sour taste in my mouth. I can't bet Purdue anymore. Can't do it. And I mean, that transfer they got from Utah has been very good. Who was the other? Fuck, they had that big man who is such a key piece for them. Pretty mad I can't find it right now. Let's see. And you got Marcus Carr is kind of just like, I think Marcus Carr is going to be like the best scorer on the court. I don't know who on Purdue can match him in scoring. And as long as they can hold what's his name, Trevion Williams in the paint,
if he gets into foul trouble again in the first half, he always picks up 2 fouls. Every team just goes at it, and Liam Roberts can 100% just attack Trevion Williams here.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for Liam Robbins.
So my biggest thing in this game is where Purdue's going to be without Sasha, and that's a huge hit for them because he's probably their most effective player. And I mean, this is one of the fishy lines, Stephen, where I thought you instantly, once I saw this game and know that Stefanovic was out, I was like, I got to play Minnesota here. But the line has been Purdue -2. It moved up to 3. It's back down to 2. It's these games where the home team is unranked, a favorite against a ranked team. I feel like that home team always usually comes out and wins sometime, always undervalued. And that's where it's showing the mile's showing a point edge here. So that's saying Purdue -3. So once it came back down to the 2, I mean, Purdue's just been a next man up, step it around. Ivy's been a great freshman in addition to the starting lineup since Sasha went out. But Zach Edey, maybe he can finally, I don't know. It's so weird watching Purdue games because you have Edey and Trevion Williams, and then when neither of those two are in there, it almost is they just have 0 height left. So that's where I know it sounds like I'm saying I should be backing Minnesota here, but I'm laying the points with Purdue at -2.
Yeah, I feel like Minnesota is definitely undervalued here just because of the way they lost to Maryland last weekend. But I almost feel like this has to be like their bounce back game. They're just going to be like, yo, we didn't even hit 50 points against Maryland. We're not doing that again.
And this is where I think this bounce back game coming against Purdue is tough because Minnesota wants to run and Purdue wants nothing of that. Minnesota they're shooting under 30% from 3 this season. Other than Carr, no one's really stepped up, and that's where Purdue has one of the best 3-point defenses. So you're going to see a nice clash of styles here, and it's going to be, if Purdue tries to play Minnesota's game here, that's what's going to get the Minnesota outright win. Purdue, if it's slow, that's why I definitely lean more towards Purdue here with the -2.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, Stephen, before we rattle off our cards real quick, the SEC Big 12 matchup, just want to hit on it real quick. Sucks that Texas-Kentucky is knocked off because Texas was going to open at like -3, and I was about to hammer the shit out of that, even with Shaka probably being out and the other guys missing. But 9 games, who wins, the SEC or the Big 12?
Oh, man. Give me the Big 12. Because, I mean, I do like Tennessee. I probably like Missouri. And Alabama's pretty good. But I think I feel like the Big 12 is just deeper. Like, their middle is better than the SEC's middle right now. Because, like, when you got, like, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, who I know I bet against, but still, like, Oklahoma State could easily win that game. You got what? You got, if the Texas game was happening, you had Texas, but, like, West Virginia, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. I bet against Oklahoma, too, but, like, Oklahoma could win. Like, these are games that could go either way. I just think I think the Big 12 is a better conference this year, so I'd lean that way.
Definitely have to agree with that. I've been high on the Big 12 the whole season. I don't know. My take of it saying it's better than the Big 10 is definitely not looking too hot right now, but I'm still riding with it. I still think the Big 12 has the better basketball schools. Maybe the Big 10 has the best one, but the pack in the Big 12 is just too tough. The SEC is favored in 4 of the 9 games, so that's where it's kind of split both ways. One game I want nothing to do with, nothing to watch. Texas A&M, Kansas State. I mean, that sucks. The 4 SEC teams, I think it's Vandy, Georgia, Ole Miss, and I forget who the last one is. You guys should then get invited, I guess, because you're not good enough. That sucks. So that's where, I mean, you got the Tennessee, Kansas is one that's can't miss. Auburn versus Baylor. Let's see what Sharif Cooper can do. He's been the best player to watch since he's been eligible. Unreal highlight reel player going up against the best defense in college basketball. 4 p.m. Just want to sit back and enjoy that one. But the 14.5 points seems like a lot here, but Baylor just dismantles teams.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot. I can't believe I forgot to mention Baylor. But yeah, definitely like Baylor too.
So you're taking I'll take the SEC in the upset just so that we can have a fun little thing to talk back and forth with today. Definitely don't feel confident in it, but all right.
Oh, no, I'll give you the Big 12 because I think I bet on more SEC teams anyway.
All right, cool. I'll take the Big 12 then. All right, guys, change my line to whatever real quick. All right, let's recap our plays. It's noon. One of our games tipped off so far. Steven's got a huge card, so he'll read them out. I got 6, so I'll give you my 6 real quick. I got Tulsa minus 2.5 at -110. LSU +4 -105. Backing on Nova -5 -105. Gardner-Webb -6 -105. The over 145 and St. Joe's versus Duquesne at -105 and Purdue -2 at -105.
Yep. So I have an absolutely massive card today. I don't know why. I just looked at the board and I was like, I love every game here. So I got Alabama money line over Oklahoma because for some reason I got that when the line was doing one of its weird shifts and Alabama was like +1.5. I got Texas A&M -2.5 against Kansas State. I got Providence -4.5 against Georgetown. I got Akron -5.5 against Ball State. West Virginia -4.5 over Florida. Wisconsin -4.5 over Penn State. Arkansas money line.
You guys are all writing this down.
Arkansas money line over Oklahoma State. Florida State -3.5 over Georgia Tech. My big underdog that I wanted to take today was UCF money line over Wichita State.
Hungry dogs run faster.
Yep, I got Bowling Green, another underdog money line over Toledo. Tennessee -3.5 against Kansas. Minnesota money line over Purdue. Pittsburgh -4.5 against Notre Dame. Belmont -2.5 against Murray State. And then Miami, Florida money line over Wake Forest. And just because I like to give myself a lottery ticket, I threw that in as a parlay too. That could hit for just over $500,000, something light. And then Rex got me to add Tulsa -3.5 over East Carolina as well.
Man. Yeah, that lottery ticket is going to be nice because you're definitely sharing some of that with me.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely going to need security to go with you to pick that up. They're going to have to walk you to your car with that much money.
Yeah, I know. Christ. Hey, if you guys want to buy the book that just has all these plays in it for just today, I'll sell it online. I'll sell anything. Well, not anything. I'll sell most things online.
Yes, sir. So let's get into the games just because they've started. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Follow us on Twitter at BRKDWN_sports. You can follow me, REast_easy with a Z. I have a lot of college talk today because it's just loaded.
Yep. You can follow me on Twitter at StephenCarlson97. Mine isn't going to be rational, but it's just going to be a lot of screaming in like all caps when I lose these games on bad beats, which happens every weekend.
All right. So we'll sign off and we'll see you guys later.
Yep. See you later.